Bitcoin didn't break its previous lower high, and 5 days ago we did a video on a huge Bitcoin buying signal. Some bad news, the signal didn't go through, but good news is it will. We just need to be patient, and when it does, I think we'll see a huge Bitcoin move. Let's get into charting Bitcoin. For checking out the channel. Every day we put out a new video about cryptocurrency education, markets, giveaways, and more. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any content. Now let's go to the moon. As I mentioned, here is a huge Bitcoin signal that we were waiting for. There's a huge buy signal forming on the weekly Bitcoin chart. In the next 5 days, we may see a 4 and 9 moving average golden cross, which has historically been an awesome buying signal for Bitcoin. So we didn't get that. I was waiting for the week to finish, and you can see here that we kind of broke down some bearish weekly candlesticks right here. And are we going to set another lower low? Let's take a look at that right now. So on my Twitter and in Discord, I mentioned that if we break this resistance here, and if we actually break down the, get a death cross on the 4 and 9 EMA as well, then we're less likely to see that buy signal on the weekly. Also, I mentioned that if we do get a death cross on the 4 and 9, I'd be selling some of my Bitcoin to buy back cheaper, just to make a quick trade. You know, I fully believe in Bitcoin, but I'm comfortable to buy and sell on my signals, on my trading setups. So to be honest, I didn't, because when when I saw the crossover, I thought maybe we can come and test this resistance and then I would sell. That didn't happen. Then I went to 40.5, then I went to 39.5, then I went to 38.3 right now. So it happens to the best of us, and if you don't follow your trading setup or your buy or sell signals, then you're more likely to lose money because you're trading against your plan. You're trading against your trading strategy. And I've seen it more likely to end up losing money than making money. So you can see here that this was the lower high that I kind of was eyeing. It was the spot that obviously was very active. I mean, I was eyeing this spot for a while, and you can see that we broke down here. We couldn't invalidate the previous higher low, and you can see bearish right here. If we throw on the, we have a small divergence. I guess we didn't make a high here, but we're making a small low here, and then you have the large bearish candle here breaking past the support and giving us the 4 and 9 on the EMAs. So it was a clear rejection, and now we're kind of hoping that we bounce off this trend line and we bounce off some of the support we have here. Let me get rid of this and throw on the larger. Okay, so we got a death cross on the 4 hour as well. So it's just stacking. Oh, this is on the 50 and 200 EMA. So a little bit stronger. We are sitting right at support. And I knew if we broke this right here, we would retrace majority of this because there is no support. There's no real support here. It didn't really take a breather anywhere, consolidate. It kind of just exploded to the upside, and we gave that back down pretty quickly. Gave it back to the market pretty quickly, depending on which end you're on. If you're shorting, you'd like to see that, but if you're long or just holding long term, obviously you want Bitcoin to pump. So this was the support I was looking at, and now we're literally right there. If we break this down, then I'm obviously looking for us to come and test some of these lows. I'm not sure how low it'll go, but for people who have their trades here and potentially have caught the bottom, now their orders are going to be in jeopardy. They might get stop hunted, they might get wicked out, whatever it may be. If we don't hold here, then I will be looking for the low 30s. So the previous low 33,000 all the way to 34K. I mean, we might come here and bounce here and not hit that low because we probably have so many orders stacked up there. And as I mentioned, if we fall into here, let me highlight this as well. Let me throw I mean, I wouldn't want to see this. If we keep falling down and break this low, usually if you invalidate like the low here, then you're showing like weakness in price and more people will panic, more people will sell, and you kind of expect another low. It's kind of what happens when you break a low. Either you get wick hunted or we'll just keep falling. Will we fall into this huge support right here? You can see there's heavy demand. And I think there's so much orders there. Either we would just completely break right through, doing something like this, and then maybe come back up, or we would be in trouble. And that's where I put it. Yeah, the 25K range. That's kind of like the 25, 24. That's 23. Let's just say 24. That's kind of the bottom that I would be hoping Bitcoin stopped falling from there, because if you look at prior cycles, we've actually never tested prior all-time highs. So I don't think $20,000 is possible unless we saw a huge black swan event. Then anything is possible, as you saw in March with Corona, March 2020. So that's kind of the worst case right here. If we go back to smaller time frames, we can remove some of the previous drawings. Yeah, so if we go back to smaller time frames, we're kind of hoping that this support holds right here. If this doesn't hold, then I'm looking for further downwards move from Bitcoin. If this breaks down here, then I would be looking at, 36K all the way down to 33K, which is a large range, but it's hard to like give you an exact pricing on where Bitcoin is gonna go. And I'm honestly just seeing this right now. Wow, this is very oversold on the 4-hour. So you can see here as well, when we get to these extreme levels of oversold, usually we get some sort of bounce. So I wouldn't actually be selling here, even though I missed the sell as I mentioned up here. This is showing high levels of, in my opinion, when it's under the 30, it's a clear oversold. This is pretty much going to fall under 20. And let's see right here as well. You can see we had extreme levels of RSI to the bottom. We bounced. I'm not going to do it from there, but we bounced a decent amount, 13%. Not really crazy, actually. And then you can see here, huge bounce. But just because the RSI is oversold does not mean we can't see lower prices. Honestly, usually when I see the first breach into oversold, sometimes I see a leg down in price as well. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we did go to the 36K and then we bounced back up into the 40s if it was like a dead cat bounce and we were going to see lows. Or depending on what's happening with traditional markets, we open tomorrow 9:30. I'm going to be watching. There's so much uncertainty in markets right now and in the world in general, especially what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, and even in Canada. Honestly, it's just crazy. So if we look at the daily, okay, so you can see that we're nowhere close as on the 4-hour in terms of being oversold. I wanted to see how close we were, but we still have a long ways down. We did dump pretty hard, honestly, looking at the daily. We dumped 15% almost without any bounce. It's been pretty brutal for Bitcoin, not going to lie. The downward pressure that we've been seeing, like we haven't got any decent bounces here. We did see 30% here, but I'm still looking for like a 50, 60, 70% bounce, and I'm still waiting to get that. I pretty much just wanted to do a quick update on price. It looks like we may be getting rejected here now. Honestly, like looking at larger time frames, it kind of just looks like we got rejected against the 50 moving average on the weekly, which is a large resistance. And you can see here as well, this zone, you can see resistance, actually support right here, resistance, and then mad resistance right now. So are we going to be able to break above it? I'm not so sure, honestly. I was hoping this Canadian pump we saw gave us some juice, gave the bulls some juice, so we could kind of just move on with that, but doesn't look so bullish right now, honestly. On the weekly, doesn't look too bullish. Let me remove all the drawings. Let me remove the larger the larger EMAs. If you wait for the 4 and 9 crossover like we saw here, and like we saw here, that is an awesome and solid buying opportunity. You do not need to rush into trying to catch, that falling knife. Nobody knows how far Bitcoin will fall. If you're very patient and you take that buy when it comes, I can almost guarantee a very nice trade. If you just follow the buys and sells, or if you're just stacking Bitcoin, if you're just dollar cost averaging. So aside from that, we just need to be patient on the daily. This support is where I'm kind of looking to hold right here. As I mentioned, if we break down, then I would be looking for any of this area to hold from 36K right here to 33K. Depending on the price action here will determine what happens next. If we invalidate this low, I'd more likely think that we would see a lower low happening, and then maybe like the low 30s, maybe even 28, 29K on that huge drop. We would see a lot of panic, in my opinion, and the market's just in a very soft spot. So I'm just really hoping this holds. Also, as I mentioned, on the weekly, if you wait for that buy, you're going to get a solid buy. You can do the same thing for the daily. As soon as this crosses, you can re-enter Bitcoin or whatever coin you're watching. So just want to do a quick video on Sunday about Bitcoin, about the buy signal, because I wanted to address that. We didn't get the huge buy signal I was waiting for. We actually got the sell signal on the daily, and that would have made you a few $1,000s. I fumbled it. I was getting greedy, waited for a little price to the upwards so I can, capture as much profit as I can, and that didn't work out, and I just lost out on thousands of dollars. So follow your plan, don't get greedy, and if we do go into a prolonged downtrend or some sort of bear market, you want to make sure to stick around. Like, that's when you employ that dollar cost averaging. You want to be able to profit from these cheap prices, and that's where you'll see some crazy deals, and that's where you'll see, some high quality coins that launch in the bear market, in my opinion, and then end up doing very well in the bull market. You can find some crazy gems. So if we do go into some prolonged downtrend or some sort of bear market, just stick around, stay consistent, keep investing, keep building, and only good things will come. I highly believe in that. So enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.